It's done. It's over. The war for Cybertron is over. We have peace now. I really like the toy line, but the show. Oh, good God, the show. Also, it's really hot out. Why is it hot out? Why is the summer particularly hot? You don't care. You want my initial thoughts on the Netflix third chapter of the Transformers War for Cybertron trilogy. This is Kingdom. And this is going to be my initial thoughts, and it's going to be an unedited review, so expect a lot of mistakes and mishaps. But what are my initial thoughts on the series that features Beast Wars characters, Maximals and Predacons working with the Autobots and Decepticons? That's a cool concept that I wanted to see for a while. I thought that this was definitely better than Earthrise and Siege. Siege I was kind of okay with. It was mostly preparing for the rest of the show. Earthrise, I don't think it was really handled that well, and I didn't particularly like it. I had more to critique on Earthrise than anything else. But for Kingdom, it still had the problems that carried through from Siege and Earthrise, but it had more high notes, and I do like that. And I think the best part is the fact that the Maximals and Predacons are interacting with the Autobots and the Decepticons, and you see them fighting. And it's really cool to see because after 25 years since the Beast Wars premiered, we don't really get to see a lot of the Beast Wars characters actually get the spotlight in any of the series. Like, you'll have one or two, but you won't get like a whole entire group of Maximals and Predacons showing up, and on here it has like half a group of Predacons and most of the Maximals, so that's pretty cool. You know, seeing them fight again in similar fashions to their original forms, I thought was pretty cool. Now, let's talk about some of the problems, and one of them is the voice acting. Yes, it still carries some of the issues, like some of the characters feel like they're voiced by the wrong people, especially Dinobot and Tigatron. They feel like they should easily switch. I don't know how they messed that up so bad, but they really do sound like the opposite character. Now, I know that the show doesn't have to be one-to-one with the original Beast Wars series, but obviously the inspiration for these characters is Beast Wars. I mean, they have the designs and everything, so it kind of feels pointless that Dinobot and Tigatron have the opposite voice. It's not as annoying for Dinobot, because I think the voice actor does a really good job, but for Tigatron, oh my god, I was like, I'm sorry, I was ranting about that for a while. I really did not like how Tigatron sounded, or even sometimes acted. It really wasn't like Tigatron at all. One thing I'll talk about is Megatron. So there was a voice clip that leaked, and people did not like the voice of Megatron. I think it's better when you watch the show. I understand if people don't like it, and one of the things that people don't like is that this Megatron is pretty much a simp to this Megatron, and they think, oh, that wouldn't be how this Megatron would interact, but I don't feel like that Megatron would interact with anyone but this version of Megatron. And there's also a running joke in the show where this Megatron has the same name as this one, and this one constantly gets annoyed by that. I thought that was kind of funny. There's a couple of good running jokes, especially with the Rhinox, because the running joke for him is pretty much based on his characteristics in the show. So he's like one of the strongest Maximals, one of the most terrifying Maximals if you got on his bad side. But he's also the smartest, so they kind of made a joke combining that, and I thought that was pretty cool. But the best voice acting had to be from Airazor and Black Arachnia, especially Black Arachnia. I was hugely surprised with her characteristics. The voice is just, everything was Black Arachnia, and I was very happy about that. Optimus Primal is a little more aggressive this time around, mostly because he mistakes this for another character, but it's still fine. I was able to accept that for the show. And again, I really like Dinobot. I thought that they did him well in this series, and I was quite surprised by that. Rattrap doesn't really get a lot of attention, but still, he's got that little tone to him, so I do like that. You do see the Ark, you know, transformed. That's in the trailer, so it's not really much of a spoiler, but don't expect much from the Ark. It's mostly just setup, and you see that throughout the show. Speaking of that, there is a lot of talking in the first episode, a lot of exposition, and it does ease into the action, which I do like, and again, with the high notes, there's quite a lot of high notes in this. Story-wise and just watching the action, I thought that, again, out of the 3 chapters, Kingdom is the most solid. Maybe it's also helped with the fact that everything kind of comes together in this. You know, it's not just, oh, this is that, and sprinkles of this everywhere. No, everything that we know pretty much comes together in this. So I think that helps. There are other annoying things, especially with the ending that I critique. And the ending kind of makes some of Earthrise a little irrelevant. Not totally irrelevant, and I kind of get what they're going for. But it also kind of annoyed me what happened to certain characters. But I'll just leave it at that. I'm pretty sure that's mostly a spoiler in itself, so I do apologize if you think that's a spoiler. But yeah, again, interacting with the Autobots and Decepticons with my favorite Maximals and Predacons, I thought that was pretty cool. I think that when you think of the Netflix series as a whole and the 3 different chapters, they have good ideas, and when you think of the overall story, it's something that we've always wanted to see. You know, the fight before they arrive to Earth, the journey to Earth, and I can't count. And the Predacons and Maximals working with the Autobots and Decepticons. Those are 3 different stories that I would love to see. I think the issue is, 1, the voice cast. I understand why they didn't choose to get some of the original voice actors, but I was not too impressed with the people that were chosen. And I don't particularly blame the voice actors as much as the casting, because I said again, Tigertron and Dinobot, if they swapped, I would have been totally fine with that. I don't know why they swapped those voice actors. It doesn't make sense to me. It's almost like someone was being mischievous and swapped their lines, and they're like, oh, well, it's too late, I guess we have to use them. But again, I think the essential core ideas are good, it's just how they're handled. I think that's the biggest problem with the show, is how everything progresses, how it's handled. The pacing is just bad. But again, for Kingdom, I liked it a little bit more. I think that if you like the 2 previous seasons, you'll like this a little bit more. If you didn't care for the previous 2 seasons, you'll probably not care for this unless you really like the Beast Wars characters and you're not afraid that they're not one-to-one to the original Beast Wars characters and you just want to see Predacon Megatron or Black Arachnia and whatnot. But essentially, yeah, it's just more of the same. I'm kind of glad that it's over, but it's kind of sad too, because I mean, that essentially means that the toy line is going to be over, and I liked a lot of the toys. And yeah, just to see the whole entire show wrap up now, it's kind of a shock in some ways. But yeah, that's my initial thoughts. Hopefully that was mostly spoiler-free. With that out of the way, please like, comment, share, subscribe, all those fun doodads. And we'll see you guys next time.